On the Thursday, he's going over to see his friend playing Ireland on the Thursday in Belfast. I think what's happened is he's obviously, say, booked his flight back for 7, 8 o'clock. He's obviously had a couple of drinks before that and thought, I'm enjoying myself. I'll put it back to the morning, thinking I'll get into Manchester at 8:30, go to training. He's obviously gone a little bit longer than he should. He's woke up in the morning, he's not felt great. You know what I mean?
He's 26. He's going to make mistakes, and he has to make his own mistakes.
Well, you don't think that 26... At 26...
Do you think they're forcing the drink down him? They're forcing him to go to bed?
No.
He's doing that off. He's doing that himself.
I think that 26 is the kind of age, especially what he's been from where he is and what he's capable of doing. Obviously, Man United have got to start getting themselves where, you know, players like probably want to be, winning things again and being at the top of the game like they were. But 26 is an age where you know now. He's got. No, man. You know now. You know, where he wants to be, where he should be going.
Ian Wright is so spot on here. I'm someone that doesn't dislike Marcus Rashford per se. I don't hate on his style of football, his technique, his ability. Been a big advocate of his for a long time. But at 26 years of age, I understand there are problems at Man United. There's a lack of seriousness at my football club that I love dearly. But Marcus Rashford is 110% completely accountable for his behaviour. Completely accountable. Saying he's 26, he's young. Come on now, 26 is not young. It is if you're comparing him to a 90-year-old. But every single 26-year-old on planet Earth is responsible for their own actions. You're not an 18-year-old. You're not a 16-year-old. You're not inexperienced. This man has been around the block. He's been involved with Man United since a young age. He's been in the first team now for 8 or so years. He understands what is expected of him. Marcus Rashford is just behaving in a very unprofessional way. Now, I'm not defending Rashford, where I will cut in some slack is I think Man United has a culture which perpetuates people being unprofessional. There's a lack of seriousness. There is a lack of desire to win. I'd like to win. It'd be great to win a trophy, but I'm not going to put myself through the mire. I am not going to grind every single day to be in the position to achieve that. That is atypically how I see Manchester United Football Club and its players right now, and it pains me as a United fan to see it. But there is no defending of Rashford. If he is, as some of the media outlets have suggested, suffering with mental health issues, he needs counseling, maybe he's been through some breakups, maybe there's some family problems, maybe he isn't coping very well and he's turning to nightlife and alcohol and drinking. None of this is a good thing for an athlete. None of this, by the way, is good for anybody. Nobody should be going out. If you've got problems in your life, you've got sorrow, you've got issues, going out drinking and partying to the early hours of the morning is typically not a great way to get over those situations. It really isn't. And that's coming from somebody with experience in life at 38 years of age. It doesn't work. Trust me, you've had a hard day at work. The worst thing you can do is come home and get bladdered. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't make you feel better. So I'm not saying he doesn't need help in those areas, but we cannot just pretend that this lack of professionalism is okay and is acceptable. The player needs work done on himself, and the club needs to also look at itself to understand why we have players that feel they can act this way, especially during times of turmoil. Yes, Man United players in our heyday were going out and doing madnesses, but they were still delivering. And I'm sorry to sound like it's a double standard, but it's a double standard that exists and should exist. If you're delivering, hitting your targets, achieving in any walk of life, you can probably get away with behaviors that for underperformers isn't acceptable. And that is the nature. That's the nature of it. That is the nature of humanity. That is the way the world works. It may not be fair to some people, but only really to underperformers. You're always going to be scrutinized more when you're failing. So yeah, for me, I think it's an absolute nonsense to be out here defending him, in my opinion.
Stop it. Get some help.
Hag Sancho get exiled from the squad for what he did, and Marcus Rashford is welcomed back into the squad after what he did.
We can sort everything out internal, but they didn't choose to go public.
So frustrating to see this answer. Let's go back to the beginning of the question in case you maybe missed it, weren't quite listening. Let me just go back to it again and see what the question the journalist asked him. play this here.
So why does Jadon Sancho get exiled from the squad for what he did, and Marcus Rashford is welcomed back into the squad after what he did?
We can sort everything out internal, but Jadon had to go public.
The frustrating element with this, of course, this question was going to come. And Ten Hag has answered this in such a poor way. Because Jadon Sancho didn't go public with the situation. You did. Erik Ten Hag took the situation public. Rightly or wrongly, he may have done it for the right reasons, thinking it would be the kick up the backside that he believed Jadon Sancho needed. He may have done it just to out the player and make him look bad. No one knows his true motivation. But it was Ten Hag and Man United that went public with this. Now, Sancho responded publicly. Reportedly, Sancho then, after that point, refused to apologize for his part, refused to cooperate, refused to resolve the situation. Thus, the exile. And if Ten Hag would have said, look, that situation was different because it was public, but we tried to speak to Jadon, and Jadon didn't want to know. He didn't want to resolve the situation. But with Marcus Rashford, we spoke to him. He accepted that he did wrong. He apologized for his mistakes. He's promised to work harder. He's promised to fix himself up and make himself the best player that he can be for this club. That's why the situations are different. I don't think anybody, even Jadon Sancho's biggest fans, would have said too much about it. The problem here is it feels like a lie. It feels like you're kicking the hornet's nest again, Ten Hag. You didn't need to say what you did. Jadon didn't choose to go public. You did. Now, Jadon Sancho responded in public, which I also don't agree with, but he didn't make the situation a public matter. You did. You're not owning that. It's not okay for you to go public and then pretend it was the player. That is not a good message that is again going to be sent into the dressing room. And as much as I don't want to see Jadon Sancho drag through the coals any more than he already has been, I'm also very, very much focused on the situation at Man United becoming better, the dressing room trusting the manager more, and this isn't going to help. So on multiple levels, this is another absolute abomination from Erik Ten Hag. And even if you agree with him and you're on his side, he's based on the principle of what he's saying, it's the handling of the matter. It's his actions that here are going to cause Man United problems. They just are. And it's so frustrating to see, either say what completely happened or say nothing at all. But instead, he's dug out Sancho. He's got the information wrong. He's riled up Sancho's fans. People that don't like Ten Hag are now having to go at him further. And the media, by the way, are going to jump on this like a bitch in heat. They're going to be all over it like a goddamn cheap suit. This man has got to learn how to handle the media better. This is an abysmal job. And again, it isn't fair on Jadon Sancho because what he said is completely untrue. It's absolutely infuriating for me to see this. It really is. Now, in other news from Manchester United, another story which I want to talk positively about my club, but it's hard to, is that Jose Mourinho thinks he's coming back. It does cheer me up a little bit. I cannot imagine a world where Jose ends up the Manchester United manager again. I think that is an absolute ridiculous take. The manager might feel that he has unfinished business. He may feel that, with new people calling the shots, I've got a chance. Until I'm proven wrong, Jose Mourinho is so far past his sell-by date as an elite level manager, it's unbelievable. The Porto Jose, the Inter Jose, the original Chelsea Jose, that man is gone. That man no longer exists. We've done this before with athletes. It may be David Hay making his return, Ricky Hatton making his return. I think, look, there's some people that may see this in the MMA when Conor McGregor inevitably returns. We saw it when Anderson Silva, maybe the greatest ever MMA fighter, certainly of his generation, came back after a bad leg break, and whatever else. When the best are past their sell-by date, for me, it's painful to watch them perform and compete at a much lower standard than when at their peak. I think it's almost like undignified. Being beaten. Who hadn't got beat when he came out? I don't even know the name of the guy that beat him when he came out of retirement. Tony Bellew is a good quality world-level fighter. David Haney's pomp, in my opinion, flattens him. Anderson Silva getting beat by names that would have got nowhere near him in his heyday. I don't like seeing it. I also don't want to see Jose Mourinho get another opportunity at a big club, absolutely bomb, and maybe that be such a big, lasting memory. I want him to be put out to pasture. I want him to be put out to stud. I also don't want him anywhere near Manchester United because I cannot see in any way, shape, or form it working.
Like Bondo.
A guy who's played against Man United 21 times and won once and fucking shouts his mouth off.
No, but I ended.
I love this clip today from the overlap where a little bit of a dig at Gabby Abonglaho, who of course himself was a very good pro. I'd love to have been as good as him. But the way this man, I get criticised in Man United now, but the way he talks about legends of our club, how good or bad they really were, and these are players that he was up against. When he won one game in 21 against Manchester United, right? It's great to see Gary Neville kind of clap back at him a little bit, give him a little taste of his own medicine, because Abonglaho sort of talks about other pros he played against. It's sometimes in such a disrespectful way. It's almost as if, are you forgetting who they were to you, what they did? Maybe that's what it is, though. Maybe it's what they did to him and his team that has made him so bitter and he cannot get over that. But I just wanted to feature that on the show today because I absolutely loved it. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, as ever, I want to thank you. I know a lot of Man United fans get a little tired of my coverage of United, and I understand why, because it's often perceived as negative, but I think it's important to highlight these points. I'm striving for my club to get back to the very top, to behave in the right way, to have the correct standards, to handle things properly. And until that's done, I'm going to call it out. I'm far harsher on Man United than any other club, and I always will be because I love them. I genuinely love everything about this football club, the city, and everything that surrounds it. Manchester's my second home. I lived there for a long time. I competed there for a long time. It's an amazing part of the world, and the club is every bit intertwined into the fabric of that beautiful, brilliant place. And I think it should behave in the right way. And I will keep calling it out until I see it behaving in the right way. And I'm not going to stop, because that's what real love, in my opinion, is. Sometimes you've got to be tough. Sometimes you've got to be hard to try and get things back to where you want. Listen, hit the like button if you can. Please share if you can. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.